Excellent. Okay, now I want to first thank you all for being here, and thanks for the invitation back. Haven't done a Zoom program in a little while. I of course came in there when I was living in Cleveland, Ohio. There until last year. I moved in on June 1st, 2023 to West Hartford, Connecticut. But I want to thank you for the invitation and thank you all for being here. This is the book that I actually co-authored called A Celebration of Animation. And when people see this book, they'll think, well, these must be Marty's favorite cartoon characters. And I have to explain to them, no, these are not my favorite cartoon characters. These are the greatest of all time based on the different criteria that we use to rank them. This book is the 100 greatest cartoon characters in television history, basically of all time. And we use different criteria to rank them, like, legacy, how long these sitcoms have remained in the American or even world consciousness, personality, if the characters were funny characters or superheroes or evil characters, how well their personalities match that, how much impact they made on the shows that they were on, their voices, did they have unique voices? Those were some of the considerations that, we use to rank the greatest cartoon characters of all time. And it's funny, everyone, I'm 68 years old now, and everyone my age and close to it remembers Saturday mornings. Saturday mornings was it. I was all, I got so excited about Saturday mornings when I was a kid growing up in the 60s, because that was my time. I used to like to sleep in on the weekends generally, but from school, but on Saturday mornings, I had my big bowl of cereal in front of me at 8 in the morning, and I watched 4 hours of cartoons with my friends or family or whatever. And there was 2 hours of Warner Brothers, Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and Porky Pig and Foghorn Leghorn and Yosemite Sam, and then there was an hour of Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and some Woody Woodpecker and so forth. My favorite, and I want you to listen closely, folks, okay? Because this is going to be a trivia question. My very favorite Hanna-Barbera character was Magilla Gorilla. Okay, remember that name, Magilla Gorilla, because I'm going to be playing the voices of cartoon characters, and you're going to guess the name of the character. And the very first one I'm doing is Magilla Gorilla. Okay, so there you go. So remember that name. But anyway, then I got older and I had my two daughters. And when I was in the 90s and early 2000s, I'd watch cartoons with my daughters, and I would impart my, it would be a great bonding experience, imparting my love of cartoons for them, and we watched Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network and some of the cartoons that were out at that time, like SpongeBob SquarePants and the Powerpuff Girls and so forth. And so I kind of got inspired eventually to write this book about the greatest cartoon characters of all time. A little bit about me, we'll get the program started. When I was in high school in Cleveland, I put two and two together, which I could do by the time I was in high school. And I
Mhm.
loved to write and I loved sports, and I decided that I was going to become a sports writer. So I went to a school called Ohio University, which in Ohio, right? Ohio University. And I graduated. I covered baseball and football for the newspaper, and I graduated from Ohio University after 14 years. No, I'm just kidding. It was 4 years and one semester. I graduated from Ohio University, and I became a sports writer in Cleveland for 17 years. And I covered the Cleveland Indians and I covered the Cleveland Browns. And I quit the newspaper business in 2002 because of the internet coming in. And you could see the bad times coming for journalism and the newspaper industry after the internet came in. And so I quit in 2002. And ever since 2002, my job has been I sit up in my bed and I write books. That's my job. I've written
Mhm.
over 200 books, all told, since 2006. And then I go out and I do about 25 to 30 presentations a month at libraries and senior centers and so forth. There was one exception. From 2009 to 2015, I hooked up with CBS Sports, and CBS Sports hired me to cover the Cleveland Browns. I would have preferred covering a football team, but I got the Browns instead. They were awful year after year after year. The Browns were absolutely awful. Anyway, CBS wanted me to move to Jacksonville, Florida eventually. That's where their headquarters were to do fantasy baseball and football. And I couldn't do that because I had kids in school. And so I had to leave CBS. And ever since 2015, I just write books and do presentations. And I'm going to get this one started right now. Okay. Start from the beginning. What I'm going to do first, by the way, is I'm going to test your knowledge of cartoon characters. And I'm going to play the voices of cartoon characters. And you have to tell me the name of the character. I already gave you the first one. Now, all you do is shout out your answer. And Danielle will, tell me if I can't hear it, just let me know, okay, what the answers that are coming in. And here's the first one. People, but first I'll have a bit of there you go. I gave it to you. That's a short one, but it's Magilla Gorilla. He sat in Mr. Peebles' pet shop window, and Mr. Peebles couldn't give him away. The price of Magilla Gorilla went down to 1 cent. Still couldn't sell him. Okay, here's another one. Famous cartoon character here. Sorry, it goes on and off sometimes.
Here we are. Arturo Murphy's dance studio.
That character was blind as a bat.
Mr. Magoo, they say.
Mr. Magoo, you nailed it. Played by Jim Backus. All right, here is a chubby cat from the 1970s.
Thanksgiving. Humbug. What good is it if you're on a diet?
Garfield.
You guys are sharp. Garfield. All right, here's a modern cartoon character. Been around for about 15 years now on a really super popular show. Let's see if you know who this is.
Lois, I'm going to ask you this only once. Do you or do you not know about the bird?
I'll give you a hint. That's not Homer Simpson. It's from a show called Family Guy. Anybody know?
You got everyone pretty silent.
That is, do you know who it is?
They say it's a dog on Family Guy.
No, the dog on Family Guy is not the right answer. That's us. That's not the dog. But he's a good character too. It is the name of the character is the father. It's Stewie. It's Peter Griffin. Stewie is the son. That's Peter Griffin. Okay, now I want to get the program started in earnest here. When I ask people, who do you think we rank #1 in our book as the greatest cartoon character of all time, people either guess, Bugs Bunny or they guess Mickey Mouse. And I have to explain to them when Mickey Mouse came to television in the 1950s with the Mickey Mouse Club, Donald Duck was considered to be a superior character. He was more popular with kids. He had a better personality. He had more depth to his personality. He had some anger. Walt Disney wanted Mickey Mouse to be the face of his organization. So he didn't expand Mickey Mouse's personality during that time. So we actually have Donald Duck ranked ahead of Mickey Mouse in our book. Now, people think there's a cartoon called Steamboat Willie, which is from 1928, a Mickey Mouse cartoon, and people think it's the first talkie. Not true. 3 months before that, Terry Toons, which was Paul Terry, came out with a cartoon called Dinner Time, which was the first talkie. And you can't hear the voices really well, but it's technically the first talkie cartoon. This is about a pack of dogs that take over a butcher shop, came out in 1928.
Oh.
Okay. Now, actually, I'm sort of wrong. The dogs did not take over the butcher shop. They ran away with the whole darn thing. Anyway, I do not show Steamboat Willie because it has copyright restrictions, and also it's not the first talkie anyway. But I'm going to show you a cartoon character that was actually created as a comic strip character before Mickey Mouse ever came out, and that's Popeye. And then he became a cartoon character a little bit after Mickey Mouse did. This is uh, Popeye was great. And one of the interesting things about Popeye, I thought, was that he had this long-standing feud with another character named Bluto. And Bluto actually, a little trivia here, Bluto actually became known as Brutus for a couple of years in the late 50s after they stopped making Popeye cartoons. He became known as Brutus, but historically is known as Bluto. And they both had a love interest in olive oil. Now, olive oil, I never thought was a particularly attractive young lady. She was about 6'4" and about 20 pounds. The skinniest character you'll ever see. But anyway, in this scene, for whatever silly reason, Bluto and Popeye are window washers, and they're competing for olive oil's business. And so you'll see what happens from there.
Where's the cleaner?
Not today, thank you.
What do you mean? Why not today? Thank you.
'Cause I'm gonna wash them. That's why not today, thank you.
Boy.
Look at these dirty women. I wonder how that mushroom is up here on the 20th floor.
That guy thinks he's gonna ruin my record, hey? Hey, let me show you the real way to wash a window.
I'll wash them. Right to the eye. Oh, I can't see. Oh, you're out of date with that stuff. Let me show you we mud and put a little whipped cream on the window. There you are. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Hey, Grim, get an eyeful of this. There's some real window cleaner.
You don't. You look like a monkey on a string to me. Wow. Hey, I'm thinking of... Hey, you're liable to knock somebody off. Ah, that's kindergarten stuff. Wait till you get a load of this with me suspenders. I'll show you how to do it. They do it in swing time, you see. Yeah, I'm watching it, but of course I don't see anything yet. Oh, 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 I'm falling, oh, whoa, hey, my head's gone, I can't get out. Oh, hey, get me out of here. Hey, you get me a pain in the neck.
Why, hold the hand out from my head now.
Wow.
Wait, give me that slate. There's a ladder in there.
Oh, hey, what am I doing hanging around here? Wait, I can hold it.
Oh.
So you're a window washer, hey? Now do you want me to clean the windows, huh?
I'm Popeye the Sailor Man.
Okay. Let me see here. Okay, just a minute. Let me get back onto this thing. I know I have this video here. Oh, I see. Okay, never mind. Now, let me give you your first trivia question of the day, and here it is. What famous Warner Brothers cartoon character who had a stutter used to always say, "That's all, folks," after every one of his cartoons?
Yep, they said Porky Pig.
Porky Pig, you got it. Okay. Now I have to go over to a direct YouTube video here for this particular video. Now, you may or may not be wondering which cartoon character I do rank #1 in our book, and it really was an easy choice. I told my co-author when we were putting the book together, I said, Bugs Bunny's #1, right? Let's move on. And he said, yeah, let's move on. Bugs Bunny, clearly #1 in our book. And one of the things that makes Bugs Bunny so great was that he never picked on the other cartoon characters. He was the one always getting picked on, and then he would fight back in imaginative ways. And that allowed him to play off the other cartoon characters very, very well, whether it was Daffy Duck or Elmer Fudd, as you will see here, or my very favorite cartoon character of all time. I ranked him number 26 in the book, so I wasn't playing favorites, but he's my personal favorite, Yosemite Sam. I love Yosemite Sam. He was so wacky. He was so out there. Just loved him. Anyway, I did this program a couple years ago in Ohio, and a guy told me, he said, my first experience with cartoon characters, I mean, with classical music rather, was watching Bugs Bunny cartoons. And you know what? I realized he was right. My first experience with classical music was watching Bugs Bunny cartoons as well. And one of the prime examples of that was this video I'm going to show you here called "The Rabbit of Seville," and a takeoff on the Barber of Seville. And a little side story here. I did a program in a little town in Ohio called Seville, Ohio. And I was driving through Seville, Ohio, and I saw the barber shop there. And it was like, Joe's Barber Shop. And I almost went in to yell at the barber because I was almost like, why didn't you call your barber shop the Barber of Seville? It's so stupid. It's so obvious you should be calling your barber shop the Barber of Seville, but you didn't do it. I wanted to know why, but I was nice. I didn't go in and yell at him. Anyway, here's a little piece of The Rabbit of Seville.
Yeah, no sound on there.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
There was no sound coming out.
No sound.
Mhm.
That's odd. I can hear it very
Okay,
well.
try it again. Yeah, try it again.
Okay, I'll start over.
Six.
Okay, let's get off of there.
Not too loud.
And there we go. Okay, now I'm all good again. Yeah, I had to go to YouTube directly to do that. I don't know why. but that's the way it works for that one. Okay, trivia question number 2. The Simpsons have been around since 1989. 35 years of The Simpsons now. It's got a kind of a cult following. I don't know how many people watch it anymore. But anyway, the Simpson children used to watch a cat and mouse cartoon that was completely based on Tom and Jerry. What was a very violent cartoon? What was the name of the cat and mouse cartoon that the Simpson kids always used to watch? This is a hard one, so we'll see if you can get it.
They're saying Itchy and Scratchy.
Hey, good job. That was a tough one. You guys nailed it. Itchy and Scratchy. Okay, well done. Now, what was happening in the 1940s and a little bit beyond was that a lot of animation studios were jealous of Warner Brothers because Warner Brothers was the king of animation popularity with Bugs Bunny and Porky Pig and Daffy Duck and all these wonderful characters. And so they were trying to steal away or hire away some of these Warner Brothers animators to create characters for them. And one of the examples was a guy named Tex Avery, who was legendary. And he helped create a character for MGM. Now, MGM was not a big animation studio, was not known for animation really, but during World War II, it did some animation and then beyond that as well. And Tex Avery helped create a character named Screwy Squirrel, which you may never even have heard of. Now, this isn't a great video. It's a little bit off, but you get the idea about Screwy Squirrel here in this particular video called, I think this is about the Screwy Truant.
Now I've seen everything. Hey, wait a minute. You're in the wrong picture, ain't you, Mac? See? The Screwy Truant featuring Screwy Squirrel.
One of them corny bee pictures, eh?
Oh, yeah? Listen, you. If you was my size, I'd bust you right in the nose.
Oh, yeah?
You're the man.
My grandma, I didn't know you was an air raid warden.
Okay. Good stuff. Boy, this thing keeps popping up on me. Okay. There we go. Now, another example of that where a studio wanted to have some success and they raided Warner Brothers was the Walter Lantz studio. The Walter Lantz studio did not have any characters that were particularly popular, but so they raided the Warner Brothers and got a guy named Ben Hardaway. Now, Ben Hardaway's nickname was Bugsy Hardaway because he helped create Bugs Bunny. And they said, create a character real wacky and zany like Bugs Bunny for us. And he did. He created the most popular character for Walter Lantz Studio by far, and that's Woody Woodpecker. Now, if you're ever at a get-together, at a party or whatever it is, and it's boring and everyone's having a bad time, all you have to do is stand up and say, "Hey, everybody, did you know that Walter Lance's wife was the voice of Woody Woodpecker?" If you say this at a party, everyone will go home. But they'll go home with information they didn't have before. Anyway, this is, for some silly reason, a lot of silly stuff goes on in cartoons. For some silly reason, Woody Woodpecker has been hired as a piano tuner. And as a piano tuner, he runs into some bank robbers. And here is what happens from there. They literally take him for a ride.
You crazy old guys, it's a killer's time.
Okay. Trivia time. Here's another trivia question. Jim Backus. We talked about Jim Backus. He played Mr. Magoo. He was the voice of Mr. Magoo. But Jim Backus, I think, became just as famous, or maybe, as one of the stars of the really silly 1960s sitcom Gilligan's Island. What was the name of the character that Jim Backus played on Gilligan's Island?
Listen. Oh, Mr. Howell, the rich guy?
You got it, the millionaire, Thurston Howell III. All right, here's a bonus question for you. What was the name of his wife on that show?
Lovey.
There you go. Good job. Lovey Howell. Okay, well done. Now, when television came around, the animation suffered because animators had to, work a lot. They had to do a lot of cartoons a lot faster. They had to create characters every day, or cartoons every day, and create new characters all the time for television. And so they didn't have enough time to put as much depth into the animation like you would see with like Tom and Jerry and so forth. But that doesn't mean there weren't a lot of great cartoon characters in the early days of television. Some of the simplest drawn cartoon characters were wonderful. There was one called Beanie and Cecil. I don't know if you remember Beanie and Cecil. That was very simply drawn. Another one was my very favorite cartoon character of the television era, named Bullwinkle from Rocky and Bullwinkle. Bullwinkle I ranked number 7 in my book of the greatest cartoon characters of all time. And that was relatively simply drawn too. But I don't show a Bullwinkle cartoon in this program because the problem is that it was kind of a Rocky and Bullwinkle was kind of a animated soap opera. So there wasn't really one 2-minute snippet that I could find that was appropriate for this program. But I'm going to show you a cartoon that was out in the relatively early days of cartoons, of television cartoons, and that would be the Flintstones. The Flintstones was the first primetime cartoon show. You'll hear the laugh track and everything in here. A little trivia for you. Mel Blanc, who was the voice of all the wonderful Warner Brothers characters, Bugs Bunny and so on, was also the voice of Barney Rubble from the Flintstones. But anyway, the Flintstones was based on the 1950s sitcom called The Honeymooners. It was completely based on The Honeymooners. Ralph Cramden was Fred Flintstone, and Ed Norton was Barney Rubble, and they had their wives and so forth. And in this scene, they were at the bowling alley, which they were a lot. And Fred is. I want the thing I want you to look out for in this particular scene is the way Fred picks up his 7-10 split.
Step aside, Pagliacci, while the captain warms up. Keep your eye on the ball, Barney boy.
Let's strike again. Hey, old master, how about something to cool you off? The way I'm going, nothing can cool me off tonight. Okay, let me have one with a couple of straws. One frosty one coming up. All right. On the way. Too good, Fred? Great. Just great. Now, would you like to try bowling like the rest of us? Oh, boy. Big strike coming up. Shows a big win. Close your mouth.
Okay. Trivia time. This is the hardest trivia question I got. So if you guys can get this, you might be online for a clean sweep. Right on the first episode of the last season of the Flintstones, Fred and Barney ran into an alien, a little green guy that stood up in that kind of stood up in the air. It was the voice of Harvey Korman, by the way. What was the name of that alien that stayed on the show for the rest of the time it was out? The last year, the full year. This is a toughie.
Yeah, wasn't it? Yeah. They were thinking Marvin, but they're still thinking.
No, Marvin the Martian was a Warner Brothers character.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's a tough one.
I think you're hurting their brains.
Okay, that's okay. This is a hard one. It was the Great Gazoo. The Great Gazoo. There you go. Now, there's no greater link between my generation of cartoons and the current generation of cartoon watchers than Scooby-Doo, because they keep making new iterations of Scooby-Doo. They've made, I think, like 12 or 13 new Scooby-Doo iterations over the years. And I'm not going to show you a Scooby-Doo cartoon per se. I want to get you involved in this particular thing here. I am going to play the original Scooby-Doo intro in 1969. And then I'm going to play you the more modern intro. And I want you to vote on which one you like better, the original intro or the modern intro, because the intro has changed a lot over the years. In this digital age, the images on the new intro, they flash on the screen really, really quick. They don't even have the theme song anymore. It's only 17 seconds long because they want to get another commercial in. And so, but I want you to vote on which one you like better. Here's the original intro to Scooby-Doo. Don't forget, you're going to vote on which one you like better.
We can't hear.
Where are you? Not so working now. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? Help from you now. Come on, Scooby-Doo, I see you.
Yeah,
Okay. Here
I can see.
is the next one. Here's the modern one. Don't forget, you're going to vote on which one you like better.
A minute. Here, let me see. We don't hear the sound.
Oh,
No,
okay. Well, you didn't really need to. It's just the themes, the song. But we'll see if that becomes a problem. Okay, vote if you like. Did you hear the sound of the original one?
yes.
Okay. All right. For some reason you didn't on that one. But anyway, raise your hand if you like the original one better. I'm raising mine. Okay, now raise your hand if you like the modern one better.
No, sorry. I'm gonna try to play it. Here, I can play it.
Okay.
Just Halloween.
Oh,
There are so many different series and interpretations of Scooby-Doo.
Oh,
Today,
you got something else.
okay.
where are you
That's okay.
ever?
Okay.
Well, who liked the original one better? Raise your hand. Okay. Raise your hand if you like the modern one better. I'm raising my hand for the original. Did anyone raise their hand for the modern one? Did anyone raise their hand that like the modern one better?
I couldn't hear it, so it was hard to
Well, it
vote.
doesn't matter because if you raised your hand for the modern one, you have to leave my program.
Ah!
I'm just joking. No, you wouldn't have to leave, but you know what? 95% of the people when I do this thing vote for the original one better, which is it is way better. But anyway, let's go on to the next video. Now I am going to give a shout out. I'm going to give a shout out for a gentleman named Joe Wos, W-O-S. Joe Wos is my co-author on the celebration of animation. And we had to he's one of the foremost experts on cartoon characters in the country. He actually, Joe Wos, is the resident cartoonist for the Charles Schulz Museum in Santa Rosa, California. And we had to decide whether, Charles Schulz created the Peanuts characters. We had to decide if we were going to include the Peanuts characters in our book because they were comic strip characters originally, but we decided to include them in the book. And what's interesting is that we actually ranked Snoopy number 6 in our book of the greatest cartoon characters of all time. And Snoopy didn't talk. He wasn't particularly expressive, but everyone loved Snoopy. Everybody loved Snoopy. There was actually a survey taken about 15 years ago, and it was determined at that time that more people knew around the world could identify Snoopy than could identify Barack Obama. And that was when Barack Obama was president of the United States. But more people could identify Snoopy than Barack Obama, which says something about the world, I guess, today, or Snoopy or Barack Obama or something. But anyway, in this scene, which is from the 1980s, Snoopy wants Linus's blanket really bad, and he tries to trick him out of it.
One move toward this blanket, you stupid people, and I'll pull down your window shades. You're not born, buddy Rudolph. One more step. I'll punch your lights out.
Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to give another shout out. I want to give a shout out to a guy named Tom Kenny. Tom Kenny is the voice of the most popular character of the 21st century, and that's SpongeBob SquarePants. And we were lucky. Joe and I were lucky. We got Tom Kenny to write the foreword. Tom Kenny wrote the foreword to the book, Celebration of Animation, our book. And Tom Kenny actually called me on a late afternoon on a Sunday. I was really surprised. It was wonderful. Tom Kenny called me, and I thought he would just, he was a busy guy, lives in Hollywood. I thought he would just get some information about the books to write the forward, and that was it. But I stayed on the phone with Tom Kenny for 1 hour. He stayed on the phone with me for 1 hour. And we talked about everything. We talked about sports. We talked about his favorite cartoon characters that inspired him as a youth. We talked about he has his own rock band. He's a drummer of a rock band in LA. And he actually got on the phone with my daughter for 15 minutes and tried to tell her how to get into animation, which was absolutely amazing. What a down-to-earth guy this Tom Kenny is. Anyway, he told me when he voices SpongeBob SquarePants, he tries to be as naive and childlike as possible, and it really comes off. In this scene, which is from the SpongeBob movie, actually, he's with Patrick, who also is made our top 100 in our book. And the writers were actually drawing a parallel between the way kids react when they eat too much ice cream and candy and the way adults react when they drink too much alcohol. Because basically what happens here is SpongeBob and Patrick get drunk on ice cream and candy.
Time to say hi to your favorite undersea peanut, Goober. So, Goofy Goober, time to say, oh, I'm a Goofy Goober, yeah. No, I'm a Goofy Goober, yeah. We're all Goofy Goobers, yeah. All right, get it together, old boy. I know. I'll just stop thinking about it. Hey, I actually feel a little better. I don't even remember why I was sad.
Hey, it's the new Krusty Krab 2 manager. Wow, the pressure's already setting in.
No, Bat, you don't understand. I didn't get the promotion.
What? Why?
Mr. Krabs thinks I'm a kid.
What? That's insane!
I know.
Well, saying you're a kid, it's like saying I'm a kid.
Here's your goober meal, sir.
I'm supposed to get a toy with this? Thanks.
I'm gonna head home, Pat. The celebration's off.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm not in a goober mood.
Okay. See ya.
And here's your triple gooberberry sunrise, sir.
Oh.
Oh, triple gooberberry sunrise, huh? Well, I guess I could use one of those.
Now you're talking. Hey, waiter! We need another one over here.
There you go.
Woo.
Boy, Pat, that hit the spot. I'm feeling better already.
Yeah.
Waiter, let's get another round over here. Oh, Mr. Waiter, 2 more, please. Waiter. Oh, waiter.
Why do I always get them nuts?
All right, folks. This one goes out to my 2 bestest friends in the whole world. Patrick and his big peanut guy. It's a little ditty called
Here's the hangover.
Hey, get up. Hey, come on, buddy. I want to go home. Come on, pal. My head. Listen to me. It's 8 in the morning. Go scrape up your friend and get going. Friend? Patrick.
Okay, last one I want to show you here. Let me do your last trivia question first. There was a character, a Hanna-Barbera character, who whenever he was surprised, he would say, "Heavens to Murgatroyd." And whenever he was in trouble, he would say, "Exit stage left" or "Exit stage right." What was the name of that feline? He was a feline character, Hanna-Barbera character.
They're saying Snagglepuss.
You got it, Snagglepuss. Well done. Okay, you did really well on trivia, folks. Now, in the modern day of cartoon writing, the writers have become more socially conscious. They started writing about kids and with their classmates, social issues they might have with their classmates or teachers or adults, with their co-workers or bosses or whatever, relationships. They started writing a little bit more about that. And there's a character named Tina Belcher on a really popular cartoon called Bob's Burgers. And she's 13 years old, and she's not a very attractive young lady, and she has social issues. And this scene here has nothing to do with social issues. I just picked it out because it's funny. Her father, who owns Bob's Burgers, lets her go driving, even though she's only 13, in a parking lot, an almost empty parking lot. And it does not work out well, as you will see here.
Wow, I still can't believe this sale. 6,000 low-fold dispenser napkins for $58? What are they thinking?
I don't know.
Yeah, and they're 2-ply. This is a great day. A really great day. Wow, look how big and empty the parking lot is, huh? What do you say you get behind the wheel?
What would I do behind the wheel?
Drive.
Is that legal?
Well, no, but my father let me drive when I was about your age. Call it a perk for running errands with your dad.
Let's make this kitty purr.
Well, go ahead, try a turn. Tina, why are you groaning? You're doing fine. Tina, relax. Easy. Okay. Tina, you're kind of headed toward the only other car in the lot. You have plenty of time to turn, Tina, so just go ahead. Turn one way or the other. You're just swerving back and forth. Turn one way and stick with it, Tina. Tina, for the love of God! Turn away and stop! No, Tina, on the left, you're about to hit! Oh my God, it's bad.
I ruined the car.
You did. You really did. Okay. Well, at least there doesn't seem to be any damage to the other car.
No, I see a dent. There's a dent.
That's a ding, not even. It's like a little scratch.
No, it's a dent.
All right, we'll leave a note. Then again, for all we know, that probably was there, right?
We have to leave a note. We have to leave a note.
Okay. You're so honest. Who raised you?
I don't know.
It was me. I did.
You're so honest. Who raised you? I love that line. Of course, he could have reached over any time and prevented that accident, reached over to the wheel, but he didn't, because it wouldn't have been funny then. So anyway, what I want to do now is I am going to turn the program over to you wonderful people and see if you have any questions for me or comments. The wonderful host will tell me what you're asking, and I'll try to answer that for you.
What number is Goofy in your book? What number is Goofy in your book?
Goofy's low, but he did make the book. It's somewhere in the 90s, I believe. We have Mickey and Donald as the two main cartoon characters that actually made the book. But Goofy made it too. I'm trying to remember when it was. The book came out in 2019, and I'm trying to remember where Goofy was, but I don't remember exactly. But he was the only other Disney character that made it.
Okay. Where does the word cartoon come from?
That's a question I've never been asked before. I really don't have any idea. Cartoon. It does. If someone else knows, they can answer, but I have no idea though where the word cartoon actually came from. Because I'm trying to think of, what it would signify, the word itself, but I don't really know. Animation, I could understand animation to animate, to make things move, to animate, but I don't know cartoon exactly what that would mean.
Question,
Where does the Roadrunner rank?
where does a Roadrunner rank?
Well, the Roadrunner is a duel with Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner are together as a team, and they're in our top 40, I believe, somewhere. Yeah, we have a lot of Warner Brothers characters that made the book. Sylvester and Tweety made the book. Porky Pig, of course. Daffy Duck is number 4. We ranked Daffy Duck number 4. Yosemite Sam, of course. Foghorn Leghorn made the book. So, a lot of them did. But I don't remember exactly where Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner ranked, but they're up there.
There was a dog character, I think it was a sheepdog, that when they got a treat would float
Yes.
up. What was his name?
Let's see that. Well, I don't remember the name of that. I know exactly what you're talking about. He got that dog biscuit, and then he would hug himself, and then he would float up in the air, and he'd go. There was a dog character, but this wasn't it. Named Chopper, and there was a Chopper and Yankee Doodle. It was a Hanna-Barbera cartoon, Yankee Doodle and Chopper, Chopper was very protective of this little duck named Yankee Doodle, and there was a cat that always wanted to have this, eat that little duck. But I don't remember the name of that exact character you're talking about. There was another dog character named Muttley, he was a partner of the evil character named Dick Dastardly, and Dick Dastardly had a character named Muttley, and Muttley I think was very similar to the one that you're talking about. But I don't think it was not Muttley that did that. But anyway, there you go.
Did Casper or Wendy make your book?
Casper made the book, yes.
Who was your biggest surprise in your book that did or didn't make it?
Who was the biggest surprise that in your book that did or didn't make it?
Well, that's all subjective, as to who didn't make the book and who did. The one character that we regretted not putting in there later on was Felix the cat. We thought that after the book was out, we sort of felt like we neglected Felix the cat, and so that was actually a mistake on our part that we didn't get Felix the cat in the book. The number 100, you could judge for yourself. The number 100, the last characters in the book that made it were Heckle and Jekyll. Heckle and Jekyll were the same studio that did Mighty Mouse and Deputy Dog and so forth.
All right, question. She was there back there. Yep. Was Yogi Bear in the book?
Oh, of course. Yogi Bear's number 10. Yeah,
Number
Yogi
10.
Bear's in our top 10. He's number 10.
All right.
We wouldn't want to make a boo-boo like that. That was a joke, folks. That was a joke. We
Yes.
wouldn't want to make a boo-boo by not putting in Yogi Bear.
Yes.
It's a bad joke, but it was a joke.
Like cartoon from the 50s, Farmer Gray. You come across that.
Did you come across the black and white cartoon from the 50s, Farmer Gray?
I've heard of Farmer Gray. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, no, well, I've come across it, but we didn't, I don't use it in this program or anything. And really, these cartoon characters that made our top 100 had to be a little more prominent. They had to be characters that appeared over and over again very often. In fact, one of the characters that we don't have in the book is Pepe Le Pew, smelly skunk from Warner Brothers, because he just didn't appear in enough cartoons to warrant being in our book. But if Pepe Le Pew had appeared in more cartoons, he certainly would have made our book. The same with Marvin the Martian. He just didn't. There just weren't enough cartoons to warrant it. But anyway, so there you go.
True.
One other thing, before I let you go.
So quick question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So you mentioned Mickey Mouse, but Minnie Mouse is clearly way ahead of Mickey Mouse, correct?
Minnie Mouse is not in the book.
Okay, oh, that's sexist.
Well, Minnie Mouse was not. I mean, Mickey Mouse was in a lot more cartoons than Minnie Mouse was, and yeah, we didn't. Yeah, I guess so. We do have some female characters in the book, not a lot actually, but we do have. As you see on the cover of my book, we have a female character there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she was busy doing work,
Yeah, I
so.
know. That is true. Anybody else have any questions? I do want to tell you a little bit about my book, if you're okay with that. I'm the only author to actually ever rank the 100 greatest cartoon characters of all time. There's people think this is a book for children, and it's not. It's a book for all ages, because there's 100 years of cartoon characters in here. 100 years, evil characters, funny characters, superheroes, all the total history of the characters, all the trivia, funny trivia, why we ranked them where we did, all these wonderful images of the cartoon characters, colorful images. So anyway, if you want a copy of the book, I autograph and I personalize it for free. And I won more than 45 awards as a writer. Just to let you know, I write in a very entertaining, fun style. And all you got to do, if you want to get any of my books, I have some baseball books too, histories of the Indians and the Tigers, by the way. I have books on the history of the Indians and Tigers. All you got to do is go to etsy.com/shop/Gitlin books. You see it right on the screen. etsy.com/shop/Gitlin books. And you'll find all my books there, including the Celebration of Animation. Or you could just go to Marty Gitlin on Facebook, and just friend me on Facebook and tell me that you want a little more information about my books, or I ship all my books for free, by the way. All my books have free shipping. So there you go. Etsy.com/shop/Gitlin books, or you can just go to Marty Gitlin, Gitlin, on Facebook and message me with any requests that you might have. So I do appreciate you taking the time for me on that, your indulgence on that. And I want to thank you all for coming again.